which is we are an optimistic people. We are an optimistic people.
Okay, right here. This is why she comes across as so unlikable. And listen, this is not a political talk. This is just a breakdown of her social skills on this interview with Oprah. And I want to break it down because I want you to learn to be able to detect what she did poorly so you can improve your social skills in your own life and not fall into these traps. It's so bad that they had to actually switch cameras mid-interview to try to kind of diffuse the weirdness. But let's watch the video first, and then in your mind as you watch it, think, what could she improve? What do I think she's doing good? What do I think she's doing bad? And then I'll pat back on and tell you what I see and where I think she could improve.
Let's come together with the character that we are so proud of about who we are, which is we are an optimistic people. We are an optimistic people. Americans, by character, are people who have dreams.
Okay. So what she's doing, I guess we're not going to watch it through. I got to interject here.
About who we
so
are,
Oprah, when someone says something twice, they're trying to get an agreement or nod from the audience. But even Oprah isn't given that courtesy nod because she's like, come on. Oprah's just like, because what do most people do when they say it twice? We're an optimistic people. We're an optimistic people. What do most people? Yeah. Watch Oprah.
Because we are an optimistic people. We are an optimistic people. Americans, by character, are people who have dreams and ambitions and aspirations. We believe in what
There's
is
the camera
possible.
system. Okay, did you notice right here what happened? So look at this. So she is going in to a rehearsed speech at this point, and you can see when it switches in her mind because it so obviously goes from a free-flowing conversation between her and Oprah to this thing. We're an optimistic people. We are an optimistic people, and the hands start to go crazy. It reminds me of Zuckerberg of Facebook when he first started getting, I believe, media training. He was so odd, and he's still a bit odd, but he's a lot better now. Lot better now. Look at some of his videos when he first started doing like Instagram, like 5 years ago for Facebook. It's unbelievable, but you could tell when it was a performance, right? You could tell that they've coached him, go into this, say this. So this whole thing is a soundbite that her speechwriters, or it could have been her, they could have worked together, prepared for this interview, because this is a big interview. Millions of people are seeing this. But the problem is she doesn't go into it smoothly. And so you can feel it, and you can see the hands are so awkward because they just go from doing nothing to all of a sudden, we're an optimistic people. And it looks so fake and so forced. And so people can feel that. That's called incongruence. And I don't mean that in like a negative, it is a negative term, but I mean that more of a social term. So incongruence means a misalignment between your words and actions, right? So what you're doing with your body and what you're saying, and that can be your facial cues, your sub-communications, your vocal tonality, anything that is misaligned. And when you're intentionally trying to use body language in a certain way, because speaking with body languages adds a lot of power and dimension and dynamics to your speech. So I understand why they wanted her to do that. But the problem is it's not natural. So you know how sometimes people describe someone as a creep? It can mean a lot of things, but most of the times it means it feels like they're incongruent, like they're trying to be super nice, but their body language is indicating something else, right? It's a feigned kind of social interaction, and it just feels awful to be around that kind of thing. And so we're gonna watch this time, and I won't interrupt, and just notice how you can see when she switches right here when she goes, we're an optimistic people. We're an optimistic people. And then she goes into it, watch her hands, and see if you can notice the switch.
And then what separates us? Let's come together with the character that we are so proud of about who we are, which is we are an optimistic people.
So you can see she stutters and stammers when it's a real answer. But then when she goes into this canned script, that's when it starts. So here we go.
We are an optimistic people. Americans, by character, are people who have dreams and ambitions and aspirations. We believe in what is possible.
They cut the camera because it was so obvious.
We believe in what can be. And we believe in fighting for that. That's how we came into being. Because the people before us understood that one of the greatest expressions for the love of our country, one of the greatest expressions of patriotism.
Okay, and so anyway, this is quite boring, but boring to me. But a lot of people talk about how she's just saying meaningless words. Say you are a liberal and you see this. There's no way you can say that and see you like feel the power and the energy behind it. Like a dynamic leader, even if it's like a CEO or a corporate leader, a good leader, you can feel it. You really get pumped up. Since it's such discombobulated communication with the body language and the voice and the words going all different directions, you just can't feel it. So even if you support what she's saying, it's hard to get that real visceral, let's go behind the person when the communication clearly is incongruent. So what can we take from this and improve in our own communication? So I would encourage you always want to be trying to improve your communication. So that may mean start to use more body gestures, more of a strong vocal tonality. These are things you need to learn and focus on, but you can't do it all at once. This to me looks like she's trying to incorporate some really bombastic hand gestures into something that doesn't feel natural. So you really want to small step it. So let's say that you're working on your vocal power. Maybe you feel like you could be more convincing with your voice to get a little more attention and respect. So as opposed to all of a sudden speak like the most charismatic person ever, one small thing. So maybe you're going to focus on your cadence, okay? So I noticed that when I'm around people of higher social status than me, I seem to talk fast. That's a very common mistake, but a good place to start. So I'm going to notice that I'm going to try to talk not only my normal speed, but even 20% slower than how I normally talk around these people. And that's going to take a few repetitions of that to internalize it. And when you internalize these little improvements, the step change inevitably comes and you end up improving a ton, and it seems much more authentic than if all of a sudden you try to make all these changes at once because your brain can't process all that. So what you want to do is a small change, a small improvement, and then internalize. Like for her, I know she doesn't have a lot of time to improve here. It's an important couple months for her, but just maybe one really strong hand gesture at this whole thing. So say it's a 35-second bite. Just be yourself, be authentic, be aware of your communication, and then just have one really good rehearsed hand gesture that won't seem as out of place as something like this. That would be a good place for her to start. And if you're a man, you'll be interested in this part. A buddy of mine sent me a TED Talk the other day, and it shows that AI can accurately predict who you're talking to just from listening to the tone of your voice, whether it's your parents, your siblings, your coworkers, your boss, or a friend, without even listening to the words. And it's just amazing how much communication is given back and forth only from the tone of your voice, not even the words that you say. I coach guys in vocal power, and man, it's incredible to see the improvement they get. They get promoted faster, their business does better on the dating scene. But anyway, that's a different video. Actually, I'll put a video here that talks more about vocal power and how it can have an impact in your life, especially if you're a guy, if you want to learn. Cheers.